I want to welcome you to the first presidential debate.
No.
Welcome you to the first presidential debate. The participants tonight are Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
I don't like either one of them.
I haven't watched the debate, so this is going to be my first time seeing it.
Oh my gosh, it's them.
This is going to be a very opinionated episode.
To be president of this country, you need tremendous stamina. And I don't believe that Hillary has the stamina.
That's correct.
As soon as he travels to 112 countries and negotiates a peace deal, a ceasefire, or even spends 11 hours testifying.
I'm tired already just listening to her.
In front of a congressional committee, he can talk to me about stamina.
She's really wearing her hand out, patting herself on the back.
The guy's got a point. I think there is a present situation with her health. It's chronic.
Why won't he release his tax return? Maybe he's not as rich as he says he is.
If he's not rich, and he's been saying that he's rich, that could possibly mean that he's a liar.
To know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes.
Well, that's because he's using our tax codes, lady.
Why does it matter about his tax returns? Really? Tax returns? Emails.
Look at him. He's so smug.
The only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So
that makes
if
me
he's
smart.
paid zero,
that makes
if
me
he's
smart.
paid zero, that means zero for troops.
That makes me smart.
So
that makes
if
me
he's
smart.
paid zero,
That makes me smart?
I'm like getting upset.
There's not an American that doesn't try to beat their tax return fairly.
Why can't you just talk about yourself?
They're just saying, oh, well, you know what? He sucks, so vote for me.
The man smirks. He makes faces. He's disrespectful, and I thought she was very clear.
I made a mistake using a private email.
You think?
Oh boy, a little mistake.
Obviously do it differently.
That was more than a mistake. That was done purposely.
Yeah.
It was not a mistake. I think it's disgraceful.
Slay. That's like probably her biggest flaw.
If she's going to lose this election, I think that's going to be one of the main reasons.
They're making a big deal about those emails. I understand that during the Bush White House, there were all kinds of private emails all over the place, and nobody ever said anything.
If I win, I am going to instruct my Attorney General to get a special prosecutor
If he wins,
to look into your situation.
I refuse to be an American.
To look into your situation. Because there has never
Good for
been so many
you.
lies.
She needs a special prosecutor to look into her situation because she feels she's above the law.
This is something that, like, dictators do.
With the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
That was the best one.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Because you'd be in jail.
That's right. She belongs in jail.
He should have dropped the mic right there.
She looks like a kindergarten teacher listening to one of her kids rant.
Like, it's hard for me to be eloquent when speaking about him because he's just an awful person.
9 women have come forward and said that you either groped them or kissed them without their consent.
Those stories are all totally false. I have
Totally
to say
false,
that.
because I was caught on tape, but that was false, and because all these women came forward, but that's a lie too.
I think they want either fame or her campaign did it. And I think it's her
Almost
campaign.
unbelievable that he believes that.
And I think it's her campaign.
No, I think it's her campaign, too.
Donald thinks belittling women makes him bigger.
Oh, there you go again. She pulls out the woman card. She pulls out the race card. She pulls out the victim card.
It's really up to all of us to demonstrate
Come on, Hill. That's right.
who our country is.
That's right.
Nobody has more respect for women than I do. Nobody. Nobody has more
Well, that's just not true.
Your actions prior to this haven't really indicated that you've got a lot of respect.
How does
Nobody
he
has more respect.
Please, everybody.
go on and get busted saying that he can grab women by the whether or not they like it, and then you have all these women that go, yeah, he did it to me, and he goes, oh, I don't do that.
The harassment thing just plays into the rape culture.
I've done Miss California USA. He runs pageants, and, you know, he helps women become, you know, powerful, independent people.
We had a video with Donald Trump in my band 25 years ago, and he was a lecherous He was all over, the 17-year-old guitar player in our band. I've been on the Trump boat. He's an
We need to put more money into the Social Security Trust Fund. My Social Security, payroll, contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund.
She is a nasty woman.
All right, now that's mean. He is just so rude.
He really had to say that? I mean, we all see she's being nasty. I mean, when he makes the comments, it just takes away from him.
One of the prides of this country is the peaceful transition of power. Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit to that principle?
What I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
Good for you. There's already been found voter fraud.
I will tell you at the time.
That's so dangerous. That is so dangerous.
That just sounds like a little kid not getting his way, so he's gonna, this isn't fair.
That is not the way our democracy works. We've been around for 240 years. We've had free and fair elections. We've accepted the outcomes when we may not.
I feel like every election's rigged, honestly.
That is what must be expected of anyone standing on a debate stage during a general election.
He has no business being up there.
He has a temper tantrum when things don't go his way.
Trump is like a little kid, and she's like more of like a mature lady.
You're gonna reject the results of an election. That's what happens in countries where we have dictatorships.
When he says everything's rigged against him, I know he's like exaggerating about a lot of stuff, but the media is kind of rigged against Trump.
I will stand up for families against powerful interests.
Which she has done her entire career.
I will do everything that I can to make sure.
She wants to be a president for everybody, so even if you don't vote for her, she wants to be your president.
I will do everything that I can to make sure that you have good jobs with rising incomes, that your kids have good education.
We'll see about that.
Hillary just trumps Trump.
You will give me a chance to serve as your president.
I wouldn't.
I already voted for you, baby.
I hope we all give her a chance to serve as our president, because it's about freaking time, guys!
When I started this campaign, I started it very strongly. It's all
No.
Make America Great Again.
I agree.
Make America Great Again. We're going to make
What was
America
wrong with
great.
America
We have a
in the
depleted
first place?
military.
You mean make America white again?
We cannot take 4 more years of Barack Obama.
Well, you know, I
That's
thought
what you
Barack
get
Obama
when
was
you-
wonderful.
We cannot take 4 more years
You're right.
of Barack Obama,
You
and
can't
that's
take
what
it.
you get when you get her.
And even worse. Oh, God.
I'm speechless.
I've seen presidential debates in the past, but I've never heard one so competitive.
God, we are
I have a small business, and the regulations and hoops that I have to dance through are incredible. She wants me to make nothing and them to make everything, and I can't run a company that way.
This guy's got the nation turned upside down. He's got white people hating black people hating white people. We're all the same species.
Everybody talks about them. It's on the news. It's in my school newspaper. It's everywhere.
Okay, so we have a lot to discuss. We're going to run down some of their political stances, talk about some of their controversies, and then we're going to get your opinions on them as people.
Okay, let's go.
So the reality is this video is going to get a lot of negative comments and stir up controversy by even just talking about this, especially compared to when we covered the election back in 2012.
I can see that. It almost seems more like a game show. Like, I don't know, it doesn't really seem legit.
The previous times there was always like one who's obviously better. Now there's just like not. It's just like,
This is so divisive that a lot of people feel like both candidates are no good.
Well, that's pretty bad because, that means they're not doing such a good job trying to run for president.
Well, do you feel the best Republican and Democrat are the nominees, or do you wish we had different choices?
I think they're not the best choices because there's so many things wrong with both of them.
I see how people might not like Hillary. I see how people might not. I definitely see how people don't like Donald Trump.
The election should be delayed until we can get more candidates who are better qualified.
I think Bernie would have been better.
I would have gone for Ted. He's constitutionally strong.
I think the best Democrat was, as far as the best Republican, my God, absolutely not.
I wish there were other choices. Pluto and Donald Duck would have been much better than what we have.
And candidate aside, what do you think is the biggest issue today in the U.S.?
The biggest issue is we need to bring jobs back to America.
Getting it out of debt.
I think climate change is huge.
I want the next president to do as much as they can to stop all this gun violence.
Our justice system is trash. I think the way police officers have been handling their personal justice and whatever is trash.
Safety of American people. People that are springing up out of nowhere that are disciples of the ISIS or ISIL organizations, and doing bad things.
Terrorism, because that's really scary. Before it seemed like a foreign thing, but now when you've got homegrown terrorists, that's really scary.
Well, getting into some of the issues, we'll start with healthcare. Clinton would like to expand the current Affordable Care Act to cover more people, while Trump wants to repeal Obamacare completely and replace it with a different system. Do you think that Obamacare is something that has worked for our country thus far?
Well, I can't say that it's made much of a difference for me because I'm low income.
Obamacare has not worked.
Obamacare has not worked for this country. You got more healthy people paying for more sick people.
It has worked for a lot of people because there are people who could not get any sort of health care. Obamacare is actually saving their life.
I know a lot of people who couldn't afford any kind of health care, who stayed sick because of it, and I know that it's helped them.
The Affordable Care Act has worked in many ways. I've had cancer, my daughter had a spinal issue. We would not be able to get insurance under previous rules because we have pre-existing conditions.
If they're going to get rid of it, they need to come up with something that's going to work, because if they just get rid of it and they have nothing, we're going to have a lot of people that aren't insured, and they definitely need to have insurance.
So let's talk immigration. Donald Trump is known for his strict immigration laws that he wants to enact, like building a wall along the border with Mexico.
I think the wall is ridiculous. I don't really get how that's going to work in the first place.
That, to me, is the opposite of America. That's like making America not America again, because we are a country of immigrants.
Quote-unquote wall in between the United States and Mexico, which I think is just horrible. Be a good person and don't build the wall and get a haircut.
There should be a way to get in, but it's been abused. Yes, I am for a wall.
Also, Trump stirred up controversy when he proposed placing a temporary ban on a large number of Muslims entering the country.
What he's trying to do is the most un-American thing you can possibly do. He's equating Muslim with terrorists. I don't do that because I have a brain.
I was one of the few people that thought his idea for temporarily, that's the key word, temporarily, banning Muslims, especially with a heated crisis such as ISIS, it makes sense to ban, and it's like, I know it's racial profiling, and I totally get that there's innocent Muslims, and I have a lot of Muslim friends, my good homie Labib. You have to stop it somehow.
Me personally being Muslim and of Pakistani descent, most people are not here to do anything wrong with the country. Open invite to my house for dinner. I got a really good kebab. I'll change your opinion in a couple hours.
So Hillary Clinton has said she wants to have tighter border security and wants to reform immigration laws by allowing those who have entered our country illegally to have a pathway to citizenship. What do you think about that?
I think immigration is huge.
They definitely need to have stricter laws on the immigration, because we keep bringing people in, but we don't have the benefits because it's like everyone wants to come here because they want to get a free pass.
I hear a lot of folks talk very poorly of illegal immigrants. And I want to ask those people the same question of what would you do for your family? Would you be willing to break laws so that your children could be taken care of? Would you be willing to do that? I would.
And of course, there are many more issues to discuss, but let's turn to the controversies on both sides. Among other statements that Donald Trump has made that have offended many or been looked at as anti-diversity. Recently, tapes were released where he said some things that some took as claims of sexual assault that he says is locker room talk and that he apologized for. Since then, many women have come out saying that he has harassed them as well, or he's done worse. What do you think about this controversy that has surrounded Trump?
I think people are just really focused on being politically correct. I think if he really did sexually harass someone, he wouldn't be making jokes about it like that.
It always amazes me that they come out right at election time. It's just such a surprise that several women are so prompted to tell their stories.
Boys will be boys, and when boys are with all their friends, we're all I've said things behind closed doors that if there was a microphone behind me and it got released, oh my God, it would be the end of me. You can't permanently be offended by something that happened so long ago.
People can come out and say, oh, 10 years ago, Donald Trump slapped my butt. Honestly, big deal. You're deciding between who's gonna be the president of the United States. Does it really matter if he says these things about women?
It's an issue that he's got to handle. Some of the stuff that was said was locker room, bar room talk. That's why some people like Trump so well.
From the viewpoint of an athlete in locker room talk, that is complete bullshit.
Presidential candidate should be a role model for every American. He is not a role model.
His locker room talk, right? We all do it. Grabbing a woman, grabbing her by her yeah, maybe I don't want my president to do that. Maybe I don't want any man in my life to do that because it is sexual assault.
And now back to Hillary Clinton controversies. You know, there have been a number of women who have accused her husband, former President Bill Clinton, of sexual assault, with some claiming Hillary tried to discredit the accusers in various ways over time. Some people say they don't like a possible future president being associated with someone who may have done something like this. Is this a fair criticism of Hillary?
Yeah, she's a hypocrite. She's married to someone who's cheating on her and yet stays with him. What does that say about women either?
He did the same thing that Trump did, but now he's not in the limelight, and she's still with him, so she forgave him. So why wouldn't people forgive Trump?
She was complicit in his messing around and what he did so that she could further her own career.
I don't think it's fair for people to just like criticize her for that.
It shouldn't affect her presidency at one thing.
I don't think that we should discredit her ability to get the job done based on actions of her husband.
Man runs for president. We don't really go on what his wife has done or hasn't done. We look at him. It's very unfair that when a woman runs for president, we keep talking about her husband.
And jumping back to Trump, he stated that the election system is rigged and that he may only accept the outcome of the election if he wins. What do you think about Trump making these types of allegations?
Well, that's damn stupid.
He sounds like such a big brat.
Trump making these statements doesn't sit well. I mean, but he's speaking the truth.
There have been presidential elections that were rigged, like the one recently with George Bush. It should be watched very carefully in each state.
You say, I reject that, and your supporters go, that's right, it's time for a coup. Let's just overthrow the government. And that's what happens. I mean, that's what's happened all over the world in other places that don't have democracy or have shaky democracy. So it's terrifying to me.
So there's also more controversy with Clinton with her private email server, where she's being reviewed by the FBI for sending classified emails from her personal email account. Many have said that this is an irresponsible oversight for someone who wants to run our country. What do you think?
I don't know if she's listening, if she is watching this, so I'm kind of nervous.
Her emails, which everyone does really want to know about, even though Hillary's are probably just coupons of Nordstrom's or something.
I think the whole email thing is nonsense. It's been done, it's been answered.
It was definitely irresponsible, is putting it mildly. That said, she has definitely owned up to it and taken responsibility for it.
Why are you acting like there's nothing important in the emails? Obviously, there's something important if you went and deleted them. We shouldn't have a president that's so untrustworthy.
It was irresponsible. But I also think we have to see the good that she's going to do while in office and that she has done. She's being held to a different standard than what he is. I mean, even like when those tapes got leaked, like, didn't Billy Bush get like suspended? And it's just like, we're not holding him, somebody who's running for president, to the same standard as a talk show host. And that's insane.
And Hillary Clinton aside, this is the first time a female candidate has won a major party nomination. So what are your thoughts about the idea of a female president of the United States?
It's about f***ing time.
Men have c***ed it up for long enough.
I think it's a fine thing. I mean, women are weaker than men.
I think it's great. The guy's gonna hate me when I say that. I think women are smarter than men.
It's time. So many countries have it. Why are we so far behind?
She beat me in, like, being a presidential candidate. I wanted to be the first lady president of the United States.
America as a whole, that's a very big, like, step forward. Less than 100 years ago, a woman couldn't vote.
I don't want a woman just because she's a woman. I want a woman because she'd make a good president.
I think we should have a his and hers president. They have to work together. Wouldn't that be great?
It's our time. And anybody who thinks that a woman is not qualified to lead anything but this country has got another thing coming. I have a daughter, and this is really a watershed moment.
Right now, there are like a lot of changing moments, like Obama was the first black president, and then gay rights came out, and I've been alive for all of this. And then if we have a first woman president, then I'll be alive for that too. And I'll be like, yep, I remember that.
And are you comfortable telling us who you plan to vote for?
Honestly, I'm probably not going to vote. Some people might say every vote matters, but personally, I just don't think my vote will matter.
I'm not comfortable in relaying who I'm voting for. I think that I would like to leave that as a surprise. I'm with her.
I'm with her.
I'm going to vote for Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump.
I've already voted for Mrs. Clinton.
I plan to vote for Trump.
I'm gonna vote for that lady.
I will be voting for Hillary Clinton.
I'm voting for Trump. I think the biggest thing with Hillary is there'll be no change. I mean, jobs will continue to leave the country.
I'm voting for Hillary.
I'm gonna vote for Hillary. Donald, if we pick him, it might not just be a national crisis, we might go into a very big international crisis.
I'm voting for Trump. I believe he's the most responsible, the most capable.
Do I agree with his personality and things he's done? I said no, but in the big picture, I think he's going to be the better one. If we can control his mouth.
Donald J. Trump. Everyone looks at me and criticizes me, saying I support him. I support the idea of Donald Trump, and if it could be anyone other than Donald Trump and having the same mindset as him, everyone would be on board with it.
I have to vote for Hillary because I can't vote for Donald Trump.
So a lot of people will say that anything a kid says is only because of what their parents have told them when it comes to opinions about someone running for president. When you hear that, do you think that's true, or do you have your own opinions separate from your parents?
Some kids only do their parents, but personally, I do my own opinion.
We talk about it in school. We see it on social media. We have a good sense of what's going on.
I have opinions separate from my parents. With all the candidates were running, I was going for Hillary. My parents were going for Bernie. I'm like, why can't we go for Hillary? Kids have their own opinion. Like, don't think that they are just little people under your feet. No, they have minds of their own. They could turn on you any second.
And final question that we asked in our last presidential election episode. With the election in 2 days, what would you want to say to potential voters who are watching right now?
Get out there and vote.
Either side, please vote. I mean, it's really important.
At least pick one, because I mean, if nobody votes, then it's just gonna keep on going on and on and on.
Don't fall into what the media always tells you. Do your own research. Don't just look at the memes, laugh it off. Pay attention to issues.
Somebody fought their asses off to give you the right to vote. So get out there and exercise that right.
It is our responsibility as American citizens today to go exercise that right to vote. So whatever you do, do not sit at home and go vote.
Vote from your mind as to who's going to move America forward. We're a little chaotic right now. We're a little bit divided. We all can come together and pull ourselves up